She's still farming. I don't know why. She's far stronger than anyone else on the the Dire team. I mean, if you check out net worth, she is herself and the Gyrocopter are just so far ahead. And when you're ahead, you don't need to sit back and farm. Just use your advantage. You have an Aegis. You have the massive team fight. You can take a Terra here. You can take a Rex. You don't need to continue farming.
Definitely, like, and it's kind of I've said this so many times. Oh, and that's a huge RP. Does manage to catch two with it. The call in does come out. That takes out, burns out two straight with the two supports. The Moonlight Shadow does come out, but the Death Prophet ult is coming out the whole time here. But the only problem is when you have a Satanic on a Gyrocopter, what are you going to do? You burn down all his health. He just hits you with the Satanic, and he just comes full again. Huge throw in from Morphing there, but the only problem is you're throwing him on top of a hero who likes it when you're in close to him. He does have his rocket barrage, and the tiny goes down as well. Death Prophet does manage to get out, but what are they going to do here? They're going to lose their tier 3, they're going to lose their racks. And I wouldn't be surprised if they even tried to just see how far they can go with this. They could pretty much take out tier 4s here.
Radiant has fortified its
Yeah,
structures.
no one relevant really is back for quite a while. I mean, Morphling and Tiny are out for, you know, a good 30 seconds. So yeah, they can move on here. And they can. Well, I suppose they can't actually because it's the backdoor protection. They need to move and grab the Terra.
And they do actually protect the barracks down here. It's a good play from the Magnus. Strange TP out from the Death Prophet here. I don't know why she's considering actually going up this way. She's not really going to be able to do anything. She should have been able to recognize the fact that the Magnus is already there defending, whereas they need to defend their own base.
Yeah, I mean, even so, well, the arrow's going to come out, but
that's the Schultz.
The Chain Frost.
RNG again.
I am frost free.
Rubik is everyone. You need to remember that.
Yeah, Rubik is getting some really good steals in this game.
Dire's middle tower has
Death Prophet has pushed the whole way up to this lane, but
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I don't know, the Magnus is pretty low, but he can just walk back to his base and heal. What's the Death Prophet going to do when the TPs come out? And all the while she's pushing this is they've taken one tier 4.
Sorry, we're not actually going to see any TPs. None of the other heroes in the Radiant have any TPs. And the ghosts are up. You pop those ghosts there, probably.
There we go.
You're going to get a Rax here. Just don't die.
Doesn't look like she's going to look all of that damage coming out. Then she's going to just soak up even more damage off these creeps. She's going to kill them, and they're actually running back to base. If she gets these racks, which what she needs to focus down now, is it's going to actually just even this up in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, huge misplay.
Oh, Spectre's coming in.
Yeah.
She's just got one.
She should just soak this up. Just go for that Rax. You have Bloodstone, you can suicide afterwards.
Yeah. But she's opting to run.
She's going to.
And strange that they actually backed off here, and the Rubik is just going to steal the spells and take them back to her. Miranda comes in again. Is she going to get out? She doesn't get the ult. Or sorry, the arrow out. And Death Prophet, she should have just left a long time ago. MKB coming out of the way, the gyro. Oh, is it going to get it?
No.
Oh. Good angle, but just not good enough.
I mean, we were wondering what the hell the Death Prophet was doing, but I mean, if she had the foresight to check all the inventories of the other heroes and, you know, see that none of them have a TP, then absolutely great job, because they were looking quite down and out, but they've managed to nail one set of racks, the melee barracks as well. But I think it's just
prolonging the inevitable, I kind of feel, but we have been wrong before, so
yeah.
we still will wait to see how this actually pans out. I kind of feel is that the Dire, they've kind of lost their steam a little bit. The only problem is that this Gyrocopter is now as farmed as the Spectre, I think. Nearly. It's more farmed than the Spectre. Your next two carries are a Death Prophet, who does have great team fight potential, but it's only when she has those ghosts up. Otherwise, she's just a silence and a little bit of a nuke. Then you have the Gyrocopter, or sorry, not Gyrocopter. You have the Morphling. Morphling is a good solo target hero. Fair enough, he can have the replicate, he can have his Manta style illusions, but that's nothing compared to a Gyrocopter with a Satanic and a Flak Cannon, and a Spectre who can just be everywhere at once with a Radiance.
Yeah, I think they're in a lot of trouble. I think they need a few things to go their way again. They need the RP and the call in to whiff, and then maybe a few other things, maybe a good Chain Frost. Because I mean, Chain Frost is still extremely relevant, even 43 minutes into the game, because not a single hero has bought BKB. So it can still do quite a lot of damage.
Well, they do lose the barracks, and the Death Prophet is coming again.
Lovely backdooring by the Death Prophet, great play.
And she should back out now. She should recognise that they're actually going to come in. There's no point in throwing her life away. But at the same time, she is pretty tanky. Oh, is that going to end? She should be fine, actually. She's drawing them away while the rest of the heroes actually push them in.
Chain Frost comes out then, bot, what?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
He Chain Frost.
Panic play. Oh, and that's the Spectres actually throws out the BKB.
And the
Needs to
Death Prophet's
realise that
gonna die
BKB
here.
does nothing.
Dire's middle tower
But at the
is
same
under
time, they are
siege.
pushing this bottom tower, and they can do just so much damage with the Tiny. Tiny, I think, should have got a Yasha, which just makes him so much more relevant. Oh, is this a TP in from... Oh, this is great play. She bought a Boots of Travel.
Huge RP
They-
by the Magnus. There's just no follow-up.
But the call down to come out, but they can just walk away from it.
Dire's ancient is under attack.
Gyro has popped his Satanic. If they turn in here, they can actually take them down. Moonlight Shadow has come out, and actually the Rubik does steal the throw from the...
Dire's
Right, they coming out of the gyro is just so
too
strong.
much.
Starting to think this was a triple homicide.
The Moonlight Shadow just gave him enough time just to kind of take a breather and then to turn, just Rocket Barrage and throw out the flat cannon to do the damage he needs. Morphling now is...
Radiant
Oh,
performed marginally less poorly than Dire, and as I
And all the while the
suppose,
creeps
winner.
did
yeah.
the damage.
Yeah, really interesting game there. It was so even for, I think, until about the 15 to 20 minute mark. The Radiant did start to pull ahead there. They had some great initiations from that Magnus. He did really well there. Fair enough, you can argue is that he made mistakes there, but in the long run, he was the one who started those kills, and he was the one who got those kills when they were getting those RPs. When you take a look on the flip side, is that the Dire, they had great potential. When they were initiating, when they got those fights, when the RP came down, they didn't panic, they didn't lose their heads, and they turned those fights. They got so many times where both teams killed each other just outright.
Yeah, I suppose there's a few things to point out there. Is number one, we see how kind of potent a Midas can be. The Gyrocopter was participating in those team fights for the majority of the game, but he managed to finish out on the highest net worth. Now that did his 22 kills had a lot to do with it, but also Midas kind of kept the gold and the experience ticking. And also the benefit of the Spectre kind of pulling out of those team fights in the early game. Like we were saying that it was going to be a carry Spectre, carry Morphling, 4 Protect, 1 for the both of them. But Morphling ended up following the 5-man, and that helped at the start. The 5-man was obviously stronger because, you know, they're fighting a 4-man the whole time. But I mean, if you compare his items to that of Spectre's, and I mean their kills and their deaths, obviously Morphling has quite a lot more deaths, but the Spectre is extremely more farmed, and that's because, I mean, she took the time to, you know, start farming. She trusted the rest of her team, and then in terms of the actual team fights that was going on, I think it all rested on the Magnus Gyrocopter really. When Magnus whiffed his RP, or whiffed his skewer, they lost the team fight. When Magnus hit the RP, hit the skewer into call down, they won the team fight. And that was really the decider. Once Magnus got his shit together and started landing those RPs and skewers properly, they started winning the team fights again. And by that time, Spectre was nice and ahead of both, you know, Morphling and Death Prophet, and it was pretty inevitable after that. Good backdooring by Death Prophet.
It was very well played. I'm going to have to give the man of the match to the supports on the Dire team, mainly to the Omni Knight, who recognised the fact that Moonlight Shadow was going to cripple them if they didn't react to it. He got those sentry wards out, and he had them down everywhere. Anytime they were going out into new territory, he dropped them. So really well played by him. But that's been another episode of That's Dota with myself, Gus, and today I was joined by Mark. Well, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all guys next time.
Yeah, thanks.